Hey everyone, my name is Mike Vaughn and welcome to another tier ranking video. So I wanted to take a look at some 80s slasher movies that never got any sequels. I thought that would be kind of a fun, uh, maybe a tier list that you might not really see a whole lot. And also, I wanted to pick things that really were not hard to find as far as like being on VOD or home video. And if you check out the description, I will link where you can check these out if you're so inclined. And so going over the tier, obviously the best down and down the line here. So I try to, I don't know, kind of keep things fun with naming these. Yeah, without further ado, and in no particular order, we first have Madman, which obviously this is tier is named after, but obviously not the best, but I'm gonna put it here. Also, that kind of seems fitting with the that tier being named after this movie. So Madman is your typical 80s camp slasher, but there's a really interesting supernatural bend to it, which I think definitely makes this a little bit more interesting than a lot of other 80s slashers. The gore effects are really great. There is some fantastic kills in this one. So um, you do have some annoying characters. You do have some like filler. I think that's kind of what keeps it from being up here. But yeah, it's still pretty good. So Motel Hell is the next one, and again, I'm kind of back and forth. I feel like this isn't quite platinum level, even though I adore this movie. It's such a fun one. Um, and yeah, I love the premise. I love that, they are, you have this weird brother sister duo that are like killing people and making meat out of them. But, they take that premise into a very intentionally campy areas, and yeah, I really appreciate that. So Motel Hell, it's a lot of fun. This is one that's had a lot of re-releases, so it's not hard to find. My Bloody Valentine, I gotta put it up here. It's one of my favorite 80s slashers, but it's also very Canadian, which is funny because it's supposed to be set in this kind of middle America. But again, you have Canadian actors that have that very thick Canadian accent, which I think is fun. I think it kind of adds to its like oddball charm. But I will say it has some camp that's intentional, maybe unintentional, but it really does have some scary moments, and I think it has one of those endings that well, I'm not going to spoil it obviously, but like it's like characters doing smart things for once in a slasher movie, which is kind of cool. April Fool's Day is the next one. This is a movie that I never really liked that much. I know it has a big cult following. I don't think it's necessarily a bad movie, but I think it's. I mean, it is bad. I'm sorry. It's not the worst. I'm gonna put it here. Stuck in the laundry room. Um, yeah, it's just very long. I think the premise and the setup is interesting. I think the gimmick behind it, when you find out at the end, is also really fascinating. But yeah, it's just too long. It's kind of boring. It's the twist stretches things beyond belief. It has some fun kills. Yeah, so I might be in the minority, but I'm gonna kind of keep it here. So Bloodbeat is next, and I think I'm gonna put it here in the middle. So I really like Bloodbeat. It is such a weird movie. So it's a movie set around Christmas time, and it centers around a psychic mother and a ghost samurai, and they have this kind of epic showdown. What's not to love about that? So I didn't probably put it a little bit higher because it really isn't as good as these other films, but it's fun enough that I watch it every year. I'm not going to necessarily put it down here. So I think kind of comfortably in the middle is really great, but I think if you like really so bad they're enjoyable films, especially with kind of an offbeat Christmas flavor, I would really recommend this one. So, Chopping Mall. I'm gonna put this up here. So I love Chopping Mall. I have a poster, original one sheet that I've had for years, and I've been collecting signatures on it. It's such a fun movie. It is a love letter to Roger Corman, and it kind of takes that kind of 80s mall horror trope and puts a really cool sci-fi spin on it. And yeah, what's not to love? It's got robots, it's got babes, it's got blood. Walter Paisley is in it, so yeah, I have to put it up here. Funhouse by Toby Hooper is another one that I'm gonna put here. Again, it has issues that keeps it really from coming up here, but this is a movie that's really grown on me over the years. I love the carnival setting. I love how weird and creepy it is. There's just characters that are weird and bizarre for no reason, but it kind of adds to this really strange vibe even before things really start going south. Really scary stuff starts to happen. So, Blood Rage is another one that I like it a lot, but it's not going up here. I think I'm going to put it here in the middle. So, again, kind of like Bloodbeat, this is a movie that I like to watch every year. This is a Thanksgiving horror film, slasher, and it's very weird. Louise Lasser is a goddamn national treasure, and she is just insane in this movie, and there is a lot of cool twists. I don't really want to talk a lot about it because I want people to go in pretty fresh if they haven't seen it, but gosh, I like this movie a lot. The ending really doesn't make a lot of sense, and there are things that never really quite gel, so it kind of keeps me from putting it maybe a little bit higher, but yeah, I still love it. I still feel like it's easy to find and you should check it out, especially around Thanksgiving. So, all right, we have Intruder, which I'm going to put up here. So, this was a slasher film that Sam Raimi had a hand in making, and you really find that kind of witty and slapsticky kind of form of like almost sort of like Evil Dead 2 esque. But yeah, it's set in a convenience or it's set in a grocery store with a serial killer, and I used to work at a grocery store, and I think it's a really fun premise that you don't feel like has been done to death. Yeah, and it's got great kills. It's fairly easy to find. It's pretty fun. Um, I definitely wouldn't put it up here with like the best of the best, but it's still pretty dang good. So Fade to Black might not be platinum for everybody, but I think it is, and this is my list. So Fade to Black is such a fun tribute to like film buffs, especially specifically classic films, but again in a guise of a serial killer that sort of emulates these films he's obsessed with. And it's a fun premise, especially when you maybe don't do the low hanging fruit as far as like a killer just being obsessed with horror movies. This guy's just obsessed with all kinds of movies. And yeah, it's really fun. I feel like this is one that I will always have a fun time putting on. So Pieces is another one of those movies that's so bad, but really a lot of fun. I do think I'm still going to put it kind of in the middle here. Um, Pieces is another one of those very sleazy, outrageous exploitation slashers. It has one of the most insane endings ever, and I love it. There's also some just weird non sequiturs that kind of just make this really fun and really entertaining. So, even though I kind of have it in the middle, it's still really fantastic. Like, really, none of these movies I absolutely feel like I hate, even if they're a little bit more in the bottom. Um, maybe that's kind of not fair because I don't know, like, there's none that are really that horrendous. But yeah, Pieces, if you haven't seen it, you are in for a crazy ride. Graduation Day is next, and I think I'm gonna kind of put it up here. Um, it has a fun premise, but I don't feel like it ever kind of lives up to the expectations. The kills are just kind of okay. They're not very memorable. All right, so next we have The Initiation. This is another like sorority-based slasher that, of course, never got a sequel. So, all right, I think I'm going to put this probably down here. Again, it's really entertaining. I enjoy it. It has some really good kills. Like Daphne Zuniga's in it. That's great. I'm kind of a sucker for the college kind of based horror, which actually, funny enough, the last two movies are school-based slashers. But yeah, this one's a lot of fun. So Slaughter High is, oh gosh, this one's tough. I like this one, but it's really not that great. I might put it here. Um, and again, I like this movie. I think the kills are pretty creative. I love the cast. Caroline Munro is in this. She's amazing. And if you ever have a chance to meet her, she's literally one of the nicest people you'd ever want to meet. Yeah, this kind of has that like bully kind of turning on his classmates, but there's nothing really that surprising or shocking or interesting about this. That's kind of why I think I'm going to kind of keep it a little bit more down here. So my final one is Final Exam, and I mean, again, I might kind of just have this in the middle of the pack. This movie is kind of most remembered for inspiring the character of Randy in Scream, and yeah, it has a really interesting premise. The cold open is actually really shocking. I don't want to give it away, but It's really memorable. It's not quite good enough to be up here, but I feel like it's a movie I've seen a few times, and I'm good with it kind of being sort of in the middle here. So I know that wasn't very long, but I wanted to just highlight some like fun 80s slasher movies that never really had a franchise. I know I didn't hit all of these. I would love to do a sequel to to this video, um, and that's where you come in. If there's some movies that I didn't include that you really want me to rank, let me know. I love hearing from y'all, and yeah, let me know what you think. What is your favorite 80s slashers that never got a sequel?